In the heart of the Arctic, where ice stretches beyond the horizon and the winds cut like knives, one predator stands alone: the polar bear. These magnificent giants have dominated the frozen north for thousands of years, their bodies perfectly engineered for survival in one of the most extreme environments on Earth. Weighing up to 1,500 pounds, 680 kilograms, and towering over 10 feet, 3 meters tall when standing on their hind legs, they are the largest land carnivores in the world, a force of sheer power and precision. But it's not just size that makes them rulers of the Arctic. Every part of their physique is a masterpiece of adaptation. Their thick, water-repellent fur, which appears white but is actually translucent, blends seamlessly with the ice, making them nearly invisible to prey. Beneath their skin lies a dense layer of blubber, up to 4 inches, 10 centimeters thick, acting as a built-in survival suit, protecting them from temperatures as low as -50 degrees Fahrenheit, -45 degrees Celsius. Their massive paws, spanning nearly 12 inches, 30 centimeters across, serve as natural snowshoes, distributing their weight evenly across the ice to prevent them from falling through. These same paws double as powerful paddles, propelling them through the Arctic waters as they swim for miles in search of food. And then there's their jaw-crushing bite, strong enough to break through thick skulls and ice alike. Their 42 razor-sharp teeth, combined with a powerful grip, allow them to seize and drag seals straight from the water onto the ice. For the polar bear, every step, every hunt, and every decision means the difference between life and death. And in a world that is melting beneath their feet, their greatest challenge is only just beginning. A polar bear's world is ruled by the sea ice. This frozen highway is where they hunt, travel, and raise their young. A lifeline in an unforgiving landscape. But in this vast white wilderness, survival depends on a single skill: patience. Their primary prey? Seals. Seals are fast, elusive, and spend most of their time hidden beneath the ice, where a polar bear cannot reach them. But the bear has an advantage. It can smell a seal from over a mile away, detecting even the faintest scent through layers of snow and ice. Using this incredible sense, the bear finds a breathing hole, a small opening in the ice where a seal must surface for air. Then it waits. Minutes, hours, even an entire day if needed. The bear stays perfectly still, its white fur acting as natural camouflage. Then the moment arrives. A seal surfaces, unaware of the danger above. With lightning speed, the polar bear lunges forward, striking with a single, devastating swipe of its paw, claws slicing through the ice, muscles ripping with power. A fully grown seal, weighing 300 pounds, 136 kilograms, is yanked onto the ice with effortless strength. The hunt is over in seconds. Unlike wolves or big cats, polar bears don't chase their prey, they outthink it. They track, stalk, and anticipate movements, turning the Arctic's extreme conditions into an advantage. Here, in one of the most hostile environments on Earth, intelligence and patience are the key to survival. And no predator has mastered this frozen world quite like the polar bear. A polar bear's journey begins in the depths of an unforgiving Arctic winter. As the sun disappears for months, pregnant females dig deep into the snow, carving out hidden dens where they will bring new life into the frozen world. These dens, insulated by thick walls of snow, are the only warmth against the brutal cold. Inside, in complete darkness, the mother gives birth to 1 or 2 tiny cubs, each weighing barely 1 pound, 0.5 kilograms, no bigger than a guinea pig. For months she remains in the den, never eating, never hunting, surviving solely on her stored fat while nursing her fragile young. Her body generates just enough warmth to keep them alive in the sub-zero temperatures. This is the most vulnerable time in a polar bear's life. Then, as March arrives and daylight returns, the moment of truth begins. The mother breaks through the snow, leading her cubs into the frozen world for the first time. But survival is far from guaranteed. The ice is harsh, the winds relentless, and predators lurk. The cubs must learn fast. They stumble at first, their small paws unsteady on the slick, shifting ice. They take their first plunge into the frigid Arctic waters, their thick fur barely keeping them warm. Most importantly, they watch their mother hunt, learning how to track seals, how to wait, how to strike with precision. Every lesson is a matter of life and death. By the time they are 2 years old, they will have travelled hundreds of miles across the ice, facing hunger, storms and predators. Then the mother leaves them. From that moment on, they are alone, forced to navigate the Arctic's unforgiving landscape without a protection. For thousands of years, this brutal cycle of survival has remained unchanged. But now, with ice disappearing at record rates, cubs are facing greater dangers than ever before. Their world is shrinking, and their journey is more treacherous than at any time in history. For thousands of years, polar bears have ruled the Arctic, their entire existence built around the frozen landscape. But now the ice is disappearing, melting at an alarming rate due to climate change. The Arctic is warming nearly 4 times faster than the rest of the planet, with summer sea ice levels reaching record lows. In the last 40 years alone, over 50% of Arctic ice has vanished, and scientists predict that if warming trends continue, the Arctic Ocean could experience ice-free summers by 2040. For polar bears, this isn't just a challenge, it's a crisis. Polar bears rely on sea ice to hunt. Their primary prey, ringed and bearded seals, live beneath the ice, surfacing only at breathing holes or resting on frozen platforms. A hunting polar bear will wait for hours, sometimes days, near a seal's breathing hole, striking with unmatched speed and power the moment it appears. But as the ice melts earlier each year and forms later in the winter, the bears have less time to hunt. In parts of Canada and Alaska, polar bears are now forced to go nearly 3 months longer without access to ice. That means 3 months without a reliable food source. To survive, many bears must swim for miles in search of ice, sometimes up to 60 miles, 100 kilometers in a single journey. Cubs with far less stamina and fat reserves than their mothers often don't survive these exhausting swims. Between 2004 and 2012, nearly 45% of cubs tracked in the Beaufort Sea died due to long-distance swimming. The lack of food also means many bears are growing weaker. Scientists have observed declining body weights in polar bear populations across the Arctic, with some adults losing over 20% of their average body mass. Weaker bears struggle to reproduce, and cub survival rates have plummeted. With their icy hunting grounds disappearing, some polar bears are being forced onto land earlier than ever before. But here, they face a harsh reality. There's little to eat. Unlike brown bears, polar bears are not well equipped for scavenging. They lack the speed to chase down prey like caribou, and the Arctic tundra offers little in the way of large food sources. Instead, many are forced to rummage through human settlements in search of anything edible. In places like Churchill, Manitoba, known as the polar bear capital of the world, sightings of hungry bears near towns and garbage dumps have increased dramatically. In some areas of Russia and Norway, bears have even entered villages, breaking into homes and raiding food supplies. These encounters are dangerous for both humans and bears, often leading to the animals being shot or relocated. Despite these grim realities, conservationists and scientists are racing against time to protect the Arctic's top predator. Tracking and research. Polar bears are elusive, roaming vast distances across the Arctic in search of food. To understand how they are adapting to the rapidly changing environment, scientists have turned to GPS collars and satellite tracking technology. These collars placed on female bears, since males have too thick a neck for them to stay on, provide crucial data on movement patterns, hunting behavior, and habit use. By analyzing this data, researchers have discovered that some polar bears are traveling farther than ever before, swimming for days in search of stable ice. Others are being forced to spend more time on land, where food is scarce and encounters with humans are increasing. Organizations like Polar Bears International, PBI, and the US Geology Survey, USGS, use this information to predict future population trends and develop conservation strategies to help the bears survive in a warming world. Protecting critical habitats. As sea ice melts, polar bears are losing the very foundation of their survival, the ice itself. To counteract this, conservation groups are establishing protected marine areas, ensuring that key hunting and denning regions remain undisturbed. These efforts help prevent industrial activity, such as oil drilling and commercial shipping, from further damaging critical habitats. One major success is the protection of the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, ANWR, a vast expanse of land in Alaska that serves as a crucial denning site for pregnant polar bears. Organizations like WWF, World Wildlife Fund, and the IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature, are also pushing for the creation of new marine conservation areas in Canada, Russia, and Norway. places where polar bears can continue to hunt and raise their young without human interference. Climate action. While tracking bears and protecting habitats are essential, the only long-term solution is slowing down Arctic warming itself. Without action to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, all other conservation efforts will only delay the inevitable loss of sea ice. Organizations like Greenpeace, United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, and the Climate Reality Project are leading the charge, advocating for stricter environmental policies and global commitments to reducing carbon emissions. The Paris Agreement, signed by over 190 countries, aims to limit global temperature rise, but more action is needed. At a local level, communities are working to shift to renewable energy, reduce reliance on fossil fuels, and protect Arctic ecosystems from further degradation. Even small changes, such as limiting industrial activity in the Arctic, supporting sustainable fisheries, and reducing plastic pollution, help protect not just polar bears, but the entire Arctic food chain. Polar bears have survived ice ages and extreme climate shifts, but never before have they faced a challenge like this. Without ice, they cannot hunt. Without food, they cannot survive. Some scientists predict that if emissions continue unchecked, 2/3 of the world's polar bear population could disappear by 2050. Others fear an even more rapid decline. The fate of the polar bear is tied directly to the fate of the Arctic itself, and the Arctic's future depends on the choices we make today.